big things that we do when we're training people to increase their access to flow state and improve their performance overall is to start to converge on a purpose that they can, anchor toward and start to allocate their resources toward. And if you were, let's say 20, 24, something like that, and you were wanting to find an avenue to focus on for 10, 20, 30 years to develop deep expertise on that is going to have as large of an impact as possible on as many as possible, what are some of the big avenues for impact that you see and that you would recommend to a young person like that?
Well, obviously there's STEM, but everyone already knows that. I'm still a fan of the humanities. I think they help us understand our world, find ourselves, and bond better with other people. So I worry the humanities are falling somewhat into a state of disrepair and neglect. I worry that rates of mental illness seem to be rising for younger Americans. I don't think there's any simple fix for that, but that obviously keeps people out of a beneficial flow state. And that to me is one of our major problems. Just the mental state of America to me seems too neurotic, too negative, too narcissistic, and fairly destructive at the moment. I don't think I as dictator, or anyone as dictator could fix that, but it is a major problem in my view.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. The mental state of America. What are the undercurrents, do you think, that are most giving rise to the mental state that is present currently that you see as dysfunctional, and what do you think we could do to turn those around?
I feel I don't understand it very well. Clearly, some of it is we've actually had some very bad events. One of those would be the pandemic, but not the only one. But it seems to run deeper than that, because it's even a lot of people who are pretty successful in life, and they'll say like, oh, I've been going to my therapist for 10 years. I'm still going. I'm not that happy. And meanwhile, they come from like a top 20 school and they have a fair amount of money. Maybe they have an attractive partner or spouse. It's not just a problem of, say, poverty or obvious stress. There's something about the social fiber that, to me, there's a kind of social contagion that has made many of us more neurotic. And I would readily admit I don't understand very well how that came about.
There's a quote that you may have come across from a veteran, which goes along the lines of tough times create strong men and women. Strong men create easy times create weak men, and weak men create tough times. And that is sometimes articulated as a way of describing the trajectory of an empire's growth and eventual decline. I'm curious if you see that potentially being a factor in the mental state of America, that easy times are potentially creating some of the mental turmoil that people are dealing with.
That is plausibly true. I don't know how to prove it. I'm struck by the fact when you measure, say, depression, mental depression in India, which is a much worse country to live in, their rates of depression are much lower than America's. Now, a lot of that might be a measurement issue. Maybe Indians don't report themselves as depressed, don't have money to see a therapist, but I don't feel that's all of it. It's something about the level of expectations. We expect too much. We seek happiness too directly. We're not sufficiently connected to communities. There's been a decline in organized religion. All that coming together does seem to have made us more neurotic and less in this flow state.
If what you've heard on Flow Research Collective Radio has been helpful, please consider doing us a solid and leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this. Reviews help us connect to a wider audience so we can get these peak performance principles out to more people.